Hey everybody on this Acidity Thursday. I hope everybody's doing good. Um, I have continued from my TikTok to here because it's gonna be a longer video. And I didn't want to make multiple videos about this. But anyways, as I was saying about my work, we were given less cases a few months ago, and it really helped me decrease my caseload. I'm down to, at this point, 170 something files. Last week I was at like 164. But there's a story behind that. Many of the other people in my agency are still at 200 plus cases. But with that being said, um, in last year, toward the end of last year, I was acknowledged for being second person in my agency, in my department, to clear cases without any errors. Got congratulations from people that I'm acquainted with. Some of the staff that work with me sent me emails congratulating me on doing well. They got a Chick-fil-A card. Um, well, I was out for the holiday and I came back this year in January. And when I came back, I was awarded a certificate for being Employee of the Month. And I have a parking space in the front. With that being said, prior to this, the files that we review in my job are either allowed to be closed by the team leader, which supervises the whole team, or the consultant for the team for the files. Well, my team consultant and team supervisor divide the people on the team so one person won't be doing all the work. Well, the consultant does mine, and my cases were, really decreasing. I keep up with my stuff. I am on task with my work, and the to-do list, I clear it and make sure it's down, pretty much cleared every day. I have some tips, that for myself, that I do work ahead in the week when I can. If I can go to another file for the work for the next day and do it, I usually do. That helps keep my caseload down. Well, prior to that, my cases were being constantly pulled by my consultant compared to anybody's cases that this person supervised. Well, I mean, it was just little tedious things. It would be, you need to change it to this code instead, or send it back and ask this person to put this date on there. Like, we don't have to ask the people who review these files to put dates on them. I'm an advanced person and skilled in what I do, and I know the rules for using dates for these people to get benefits. So, anyways, it was a constant thing. So I pointed it out to my team supervisor, who also acknowledged, and I had been complaining for the longest, for months, because my caseload was decreasing after the agency reduced the cases that we get every month. And I dropped, I can't remember how. I was in the 200s, but I was not in the high 200s. The highest I remember getting was 260, but since then I'm down 90 to 100 less than what I had several months ago when they reduced our caseload. But I had kept mentioning to my peers, and I'm like, it seems like this person is constantly pulling my cases. Now, backstory: we have a very rocky past, rocky history. When I initially started working for the agency, I don't go into a job and just instantly start talking to people. I didn't talk to anybody. I kept to myself. Some people get really offended by that, and I don't care. But one of the things that this person thought, I think, was I was so sedity, and I thought I was just so this and that. And I didn't, but I kept to myself. And people can take that wrong depending on how they think themselves. Well, one particular instance, she got so angry. The person who then is now the consultant was a regular review employee like I was when I first came. She was so upset one day. When I do my work, I chew my gum. I chew gum and I pop my gum. And inadvertently, I'm not even paying attention. Now, had they came and said, hey, such and such, your gum is kind of loud, you're chewing your gum. No, that's not what she did. She screamed my name loud out as if we were on the playground. She, like, for lack of better words, she's very much in high school, in my opinion. But fast forward to now, she never really got over that. I was done and said what I had to say back to her. Our supervisor at the time said what she had to say, and that was it. So, fast forward to now, this person still has, in my opinion, a grudge against me for no good reason. Um, we never dated the same people, nothing like that at all. But she just has a grudge because deep down she doesn't like herself because I probably possess the things that she wants. And, a lot of people since then have warmed up to me and I warmed up to them too. I don't, like I said, I wasn't, it's work. I'm not trying to make friends at work. I'm just trying to get the feel of the atmosphere, the office, the department I work in, the work that we do, that sort of thing. So fast forward to now, she's constantly pulling my files for every little thing. So one day after the fact that I got the acknowledgement for closing so many cases with no errors, a peer of mine and I were walking and we were talking to my team supervisor. And I was pointing these things out. And my team supervisor even said that she notices. And I'm like, how did you know? Because silly, I had no idea because I don't clear these cases. They have a different screen than we do. So I, being who I am, assumed, giving her the benefit of the doubt, like, she's not really fucking with me, but like, why are my cases getting pulled so much? Like, what is it that she's doing to trigger my cases to get pulled? At first, I thought it was the system that automatically saw something wrong with your case. Well, lo and behold, I found out that is not it. The consultant or the supervisor pulls the cases after you've closed them and they send them back to you. So it's not the system at all. It's literally her fucking with me. So I'm like, what? In shock. And I tell my peer, I said, I told you I'm not crazy. I was like, I knew something was wrong. I'm like, because nobody else was complaining about their cases or files being pulled every single day. And I asked my supervisor, I'm like, well, how do you know? She was like, well, because every time she does, it sends me a referral. And she said, of the people that she oversees, she does yours the most. Like, wow. Well, are you asking, did the supervisor do anything? No, she didn't. She didn't do a thing. But prior to this, in consulting with the case consultant about a matter or an issue, she got into the habit of responding to me in caps and exclamations. So I brought that to my supervisor's attention, and I assumed that she said something, but maybe the case consultant forgot because she did it again. After the fact that I had addressed it with my supervisor. At this point, I'm like, I'm gonna go above my supervisor and went to her supervisor and addressed the matter. That was the second time I complained about the consultant's behavior towards me. We're in a business setting. Why would you respond to somebody in all caps or even exclamations like, I'm not your child, we're not at home, I'm not your husband? I don't know if you got problems at home and you bring them to work, but I'm not it. I'm not your problem. You could just relay it or call me on the phone and say it so I can hear your voice. But to me, regardless of whether I hear your voice or not, when you send something back in all caps or exclamations, you're yelling. There's no question about that. And it's completely offensive and unprofessional. So that was the second time I had an issue. The next time she did it again. And I also pointed out that a lot of the things she was doing in my development did not make sense and it wasn't policy. I pointed this out to my operations manager. By this time, I'd gone to my operations manager 3 or 4 times with issues about this woman and how she managed my files. At no point did anybody say, you know what? Why don't the two people who clear these cases after you're done with them swap out? Let's swap you and let your supervisor do your cases and let her do somebody else's cases and see if there's the same issue. Nobody thought about that. And that's fine. That's fine. Paperclip there, just mental notes. Nobody thought of that. But anyways, I continue to point out inconsistencies of the consultants that were going on. So fast forward, continue on. I end up going out of the office for Christmas break. I come back and I see that there were some things done to my cases that I just would not do. It wouldn't make sense. For one, primary thing was this person had, the consultant had made requests that this person go to a physical doctor and a mental doctor. But it was done after the fact that we had had no communication with this woman whatsoever. And we have policy about communicating with these people. So there was no communication with this person after 160 something days. This is over 4 months, no communication. And I kept thinking, why would I request this when the reviewers, the medical reviewers, have said, no, she's not eligible to get this based on this standard in these protocol. We haven't heard from her. We can't communicate with her. We can't get anything. We can't get her to work with us. So it appeared on the screen that I had done these exams. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I go to another section of my case file and see that the date the last medical reviewer sent it was on the 26th of December to close the claim out and let it go after 167 days. Then I kept following the case activity, the case functioning. And lo and behold, the consultant 2 days later orders these exams. Now, we have protocol, especially with the mental exams. She made no communication, no case note or anything, but ordered the exams, which is not protocol when somebody has been not allowed to get these benefits. So I took record and showed this to my supervisor's manager. And like, look, I was like, these are inconsistent. I said, this is one of the issues I have. I point out another issue with me closing cases. We have different sections of these, we call them queues, to send these things to when the cases are ready to go. We send them to a reviewer for rating. We send them, if they're ready to go instantly, we send them to another thing. Well, instead of her telling me or allowing me to send it to the instant closure queue, she would say, well, send it back to the doctor. Now, my problem with that is this. The medical reviewer would take weeks to go back to that file to see that I sent it back, asking he or she to sign off on it as, not being allowed to get benefits, which to me makes no sense because we have a completely separate queue to send those cases to. Not to mention it wastes the time for the medical reviewer to look at something. Why don't he even have anything for them to look at? I mean, it's ridiculous. So in my opinion, I told my supervisor manager, I'm like, to me, she's trying to delay my cases on getting them out. I said, to me, it's like a setup. It's like sabotage. Anything that I do is sabotage. And I said, and I'm talking to you, I said, because I can't speak to her because she's not mature. She's very defensive. She's combative. She always tries to get the last word. And I'm not trying to get the last word. I'm going on what protocol is and what the policy says, not what Sedity wants to have done, which is what one of the problems that we're having in our agency. People are going by what they want to do as opposed to what the Holy Grail tells us what to do with our files. So fast forward to now, part of my job also is to help other people. The new people coming in, we have to assist them. It's also the supervisor, team supervisors, and team consultants' job to help them as well. Well, when we didn't have a team consultant, I was helping. And I still help sometimes with the new people. And also those who, process these files that are not as high level as I am, I have to help them too when they have questions before they sometimes consult with the team leader or the team consultant. Well, and that's part of the job. But that being said, part of the job is to help people who have the same 8-hour shift as you do their work when they fall behind. On 2 different occasions, I had been asked, or maybe 2 or 3, it was been 3, I think, by my supervisor's manager and my supervisor to help this one person on my team that was falling behind. It was a simple task, a couple of simple tasks, but one time I had to do it the whole month every week for them. And another time I did it one time in another month. And just recently I was asked to do the development on particular types of claims that this person does not know how to do. I, in my opinion, don't think they should have been rushed into doing these cases because there wasn't proper training. That's another story. So as you can see, I do my casework and I do other people's casework who get the same 8 hours that I get. I don't get extra pay for it or anything. That's part of the job description. But at this point, with my files being managed the way that they are, the job is becoming stressful because there's no one assisting me to help alleviate the problems that I have with the consultant. And as with any job, when you have issues like this, you make record of what's going on. So when the time comes, and God forbid if I have to be out because of being under a lot of pressure and stress and what I consider to be a form of bullying or harassment through the work and caseload, um, I'll have what I need in defense of myself. And we get reports every week showing where we are, and my caseload for the advanced examiners is very low. There are people that have been there twice as long as I have, like literally they've been there 16, 19, 20 years, and their caseload is high. So at this point, I am considering some options medically because this week really weighed on me because it was getting on my nerves. I was looking at some of the things, like my screen is pretty much blank, but looking at the cases that could actually.
This is a reminder. Lift my weights.
Alexa, stop. I'm looking at cases that actually could be gone. A lot of them are arguably could have been closed, in my opinion. If the medical reviewer reviews it and they don't allow the person, I don't feel like I should have to get second opinions for several of my cases because the consultant doesn't agree with it. For the record, we have quality reviewers in-house and at a larger scale that will review these claims, and if they don't like the decision, they then return them. It's really not the consultants or the team leaders' disposition to say all the time, or at all outside of policy that you need to get a second opinion, unless it's really something, you know, that they deem is appropriate to return. And in my opinion, there are several. I have several cases where I should have about 160. Several other cases are just sitting there where she has forced me to order testing or sent back to get a second opinion on something that's probably going to come back with the same opinion, just in my opinion, for her to hold the claim. One I did not agree with. One person was going to be, I guess, given benefits, and she looked at something, and I didn't think it was good because, you can have one good day and it could be the last record or last time you saw a doctor, but the majority of the year you've been bad, so you're feeling bad. So this person was going to be given some benefits, but after the fact that she didn't feel like it was okay for this under 50-year-old to get them, she sent it back for a second opinion, and it came back with the opinion that she wanted it, which was a denial. In addition to that, she added more steam to the pot and documented that, well, he said he had some mental conditions. Well, I have a master's degree in mental health therapy, and I'm not licensed. I'm not a licensed therapist or counselor right now, but I can hang a shingle. And as it relates to mental conditions, and with many things, you have to have longitudinal diagnoses and or symptoms associated with mental problems. And sometimes people are just sad. They're not always depressed. So instead of her allowing, just to write something up in addressing that he was mildly depressed, she was like, well, order an exam, which delayed the case because we don't have adequately staffed medical reviewers outside of our agency to do exams. So these people have to wait months and months before they get the proper evaluations that we need for processing their files. But it's really a mess. And on a number of occasions, my team supervisor has also said it. So at this point, I hope, I hate to say the worst, but I don't know if she is in fear of this person or not, but I'm not in fear of this person. At this point, I'm just trying to maintain good mental health at this point with this woman, and what I have to do. I was also presented this week with I guess they call it an opportunity to do more a different, which I already know how to do. Prior to COVID, I was doing this type of cases, and for whatever reason, they just stopped giving me these particular type of files and things. So, I was presented this week by my supervisor's manager to see if I was interested in doing um another particular type claim. At the time, I thought, "Oh, okay, yeah," but the more that I have considered it and how my files are being managed by this woman, I don't think I really want to do it because I don't want to be stressed out with the high caseload again because at every angle she's finding a reason for me to hold my file and do something else to it, which I think is just ridiculous. So, whereas my job, we work autonomously for the most part, there are certain parts of it, as well as many jobs, that you have these one or two people that just make the job more stressful than it should be, and or it is. And at this point, I think I'm going to consult with upper management tomorrow and let them know I'm going to just rescind the option to do these cases. Sure, they can find some other people to do it. It's a few higher level examiners, reviewers like me that are still in the, you know, that would be able to do it. And at this point, I'm not. We're not getting offered more money to do these special cases, and I just don't see it would be beneficial for me by health wise to have to deal with more stress from the consultant when I get these other cases. So I think I'm just gonna tell her that I've changed my mind and continue with the case types that I have, which is still every type of case except these particular type. And they have a number of other people that can do it. The work is not hard for that, but it's just a matter of doing the work. And I do my work. I don't play on the phone or talk on the phone. I'm not on my cell phone. I'm not on YouTube or TikTok, Instagram during the day. I literally do my work. Um, some of the things, there are a lot of things I've tried to help other people um, tackle their issues with their case management. And it's like they take it with a grain of salt. It goes in one ear and right out the other, but that's neither here nor there for me because I do my work. I do my job. And like I said, I'm doing my job the best that I can, but just this particular week has been so draining mentally that I've actually clocked out early and used some of my leave because mentally it's beginning to be draining, and I want to be in a healthy space mentally. I don't want to get to the point that, you know, people are dreading going to work. Now, some days I do. It's stressful. It's a tedious job that we do. And I don't have a bad supervisor. My team supervisor is a good person for the most part. And but the other stressors that are just unnecessarily, like people constantly picking on you about what they think is good and just doing things to your files that you wouldn't do or they wouldn't let you do if you asked, is really annoying. Is to me a form of workplace bullying um through the work. But I don't think I'm gonna take on any more work because outside of what I have to do, like today I finished my work and on my own accord, I went through at least two other people's caseloads and tried to clear out some of the stuff for them that they had in excess, like duplicate things, that sort of thing. I tried to clear that out and help them. And I emailed my supervisor and told her what I was doing. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so thankful." No, I'm fine. But after that, helping them and then just sitting there looking at my caseload, thinking that at least four of these cases could be gone, or three of them could be gone if I didn't have to send them back for a second opinion or order these unnecessary exams. That just really angers me because, despite the agency itself giving me acknowledgement for my success that I take 100% for. I develop and do my own files myself. Nobody does that for me. Nobody puts in the footwork. I take 100% accountability for my good work. Um, it's just a disappointment that there are people that try to do whatever they can do in the workplace to make you feel inadequate And I don't, but I know what this person is doing, and it's just really ridiculous. She's just one of the worst character people. And I think a lot of the things that, and like they say on these TikToks and different posts, your demons, your spirit make these people's demons tremble because it's a lack in their own character that they see in you and other people see in you that they're envious about, but that is the gist of what is going on with the work chronicles. Nothing like that. I mean, and it's a hostile environment. I was telling my husband about it, and he was like, at our level of employment with the government, that would be considered hostile. He was like, I would take it to HR. And at this point, if the next move for me would be probably legal action and not even take it to HR, because at the end of the day, HR is going to support the agency. It's not going to necessarily support me or her, but in support of the agency, like they have with so many other people who have complained about being bullied, which is one of the reasons people have left our department, being bullied by team supervisors and team consultants. And HR basically passes it off as their way of management. Harassing and management are not the same thing. It is not. So, feeling defeated, these people have left and are able to make more money. So, that's basically at this point where I am with my work chronicles. I will probably keep you guys up to date on what's going on, but at this point, it is becoming mentally draining and mentally stressful, and I don't want to get to a point that I burst, and which is probably what some people want you to do. I don't, and I deal really usually really good with pressure, but it's gotten to the point now. It's a drain on me. So this week, I guess I really had the time to evaluate what was really going on in my job and think I'm just assessing what is going on, and it was really annoying. So I'll keep you guys posted and updated on if issues are resolved and how they're resolved um, with me and my case and case management situation. So, anyways, that is going to conclude my live, and I'm going to probably save this also. So, yeah. So that is it, y'all.